Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the Wimbledon vlog. Yes, I got to go to Wimbledon this year. It was incredible. I got to see both men's and women's quarterfinals. So in this video, I'm gonna do a little bit of a vlog of our day at Wimbledon, but I also want to intersperse in some important facts about the tournament, including your frequently asked questions, because no sooner do I post that I'm going to Wimbledon, the #1 question I get is, how did you get tickets? And then the questions just roll in from there. So this video will be a mix of what the day is like at Wimbledon, but also those practical FAQs that you want to know should you A, be trying to get tickets to Wimbledon, or if you are lucky enough to get tickets, then what should you bring? What's the experience going to be like? I'm gonna try and cover everything that I can remember. And hey, if I don't cover something, leave a comment down below and ask me a question and I will get back to you. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. So we went to Wimbledon on July 9th, 2025, and we got to see both a women's quarterfinals match and also a men's quarterfinals match. Now, when you go to Wimbledon, we just took the tube there. You take the tube to Southfields and be prepared to walk about 15-20 minutes from Southfields. It's a little slower probably than your normal walking pace, just because of the number of people walking in the same direction as you. We lucked out with an incredibly gorgeous sunny day, and as you can see here, 5th row tickets. I mean, how did we score these? Well, we scored them in the Wimbledon ballot. So if you are not already registered on My Wimbledon, which is the official Wimbledon website, then you definitely need to pause the video right now and go do this. You can find all of the information about the Wimbledon ballot on wimbledon.com, and that's where they have essentially My Wimbledon for the ballot. Now, the ballot itself dates back to 1924, and it's determined to be the fairest way to give the public tickets to the event, and not give away. You still have to buy these tickets, but what's nice about it is there's a lot of rules, which if you do not follow the rules can actually result in your tickets being taken away. So I really strongly encourage that you read all of the T's and C's. Now, some of the big rules are you're only allowed to have one address per household. So if you're a married couple or partners living together and you both have your addresses registered to the same household, only one of you can win tickets in the ballot to Wimbledon. If you both do, you can run the risk of your tickets being taken away. So the idea is they do this by household because, say, if a couple wins, they could take each other. So the idea is one pair of tickets per household. The same also goes for email addresses, so only one email address per ballot account, as well as one physical address per ballot account. And you can have your address be in other countries because obviously people from around the world come to Wimbledon. I just happen to live in London, so I'm a little more flexible to get myself there. Now, if for some reason you cannot go to Wimbledon, you cannot resell your tickets. You can actually return them and get reimbursed from Wimbledon. I think that you have to double check on the amount of time in advance that you have to do this in, but I've heard of previous cases where a friend couldn't go and he gave his 2 tickets away and then he got banned from Wimbledon, from the ballot, for 3 years. So you definitely have to read the rules carefully and follow them. But what they don't really advertise is, so when you kind of win in the ballot, all you win is a digital queue to get in for the chance to purchase tickets. So the idea is if you get the lucky email early on in the kind of digital queue where they're giving away tickets, you can go in and just try and buy any tickets that you want. When you get through in the ballot, there's no guarantee which days or times or matches that you'll get tickets for. It's very much the luck of the draw. You just go in to the website and you just see what's available and you have to act quickly. There's no texting friends or family members for consultations. You just need to go in and do it super quickly. So this is essentially how we got our tickets, because I think there are some early waves where tickets are available, but then closer to the event, anyone who's registered in the ballot can essentially go in. I got an email, so I entered in through an email saying the ballot is now open to everyone. So definitely keep an eye, those spam filters and everything, and just literally going in and hitting refresh. Like, I'm surprised I didn't get flagged for being like a robot, because if you're on like a long video call, work call, just refresh, 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 shh. Maybe watching TV in the evenings, right? So the match that we got to see was with Mira Andreeva and Belinda Bencic. I think that's how you say it, Bencic. She's Swiss. And Belinda won. It was a great women's singles match, definitely a lot of back and forth, and it served as such a great start to the day. We were in the bright hot sun, so definitely bring that sunscreen with you. And we had arrived with a bottle of champagne because, fun fact, and I'll reiterate this in my what to bring with you section, per person at Wimbledon, this makes it such a unique tournament. You can bring one bottle of wine or champagne or 2 cans of beer per person. So you can bring your own alcoholic beverages in. And I would recommend it because I think it just makes for such a nice day. So we did pop open our champagne, but only at an appropriate time, because I think Wimbledon is one of the only tournaments where people get yelled at in the crowds because they're popping their champagne corks at inappropriate times. So when the match is being played, you have to be completely silent because it's very echoey in the courts. So we had our champagne. I had brought some snacks as well to go with said champagne. So it was kind of like the pre-lunch snacks that we had. And I think the first match, I forget what time it started, but I think we probably got down there by like 1 or 1:30. So match must have started around 1:30 or 2 p.m. So a little early in the day for alcohol, but not too early if you ask me. So a few interesting facts on Wimbledon if you have never been before or are not so familiar. So I'm a lifelong tennis player, so going to Wimbledon is really special to me, especially because I live in London as well. So Wimbledon actually dates back to 1877. This makes it the oldest tennis tournament in the world. It is the only Grand Slam that is still played on grass. And if you play tennis, you will know grass is not an easy surface to play on. The balls bounce lower. There's more potential for slipping and sliding with the grass. And Wimbledon really takes care of its grounds and its grass. You can go on their website to learn all about it. Center court specifically opened in 1922, but they did put a roof on it back in 2009, so they can play in inclement weather, but they really do prefer to play with the top open. As you've probably seen on TV, there is a very strict all-white dress code announced. This is something that you see at a lot of the more posh tennis clubs around the world, where you do have to wear your tennis whites. This is a very old school tennis thing. The Royal Box, which actually we were sitting right next to on this time we were at Wimbledon, has 74 seats, and it's a mix of the royals, the royal family, celebrities, and other guests of the royal family. On the day that we were there, Hugh Grant was there, which was very special, and there were lots of memes floating around social media because he famously looked like, allegedly, fell asleep in the Royal Box. To be fair, it was a very warm day, and if you get to go to the Royal Box, you have to dress very formally. So for men, that's the long sleeve shirt, the tie, the sport coat. I was wearing a very thin summer sundress on that day, so I don't know how the guys were doing it. And then the reason why you don't actually see birds flying around the players or in the stadium is there is Rufus the Hawk, and he has been on pigeon patrol for many years, specifically since the year 2000, and I don't really want to know what Rufus does to keep the pigeons away. I imagine we can all guess, but it does work. Now, if only I could have Rufus come and patrol the windows around my flat, because I've had a few close calls with those trying to come into my house. So then it was time for the second match of the day. We had the wonderful honor to see Novak Djokovic take on Flavio Cobolli. Young guy, Italian, compared to Novak, who's 38 years of age, and it was actually such a great match. I mean, Djokovic, he really shows his experience when he plays on the court. Flavio Cobolli is definitely a young up-and-comer. He's got a great serve, great speed on the court, you know, powerful ground strokes, and even though we were in a quarterfinals match, it felt almost final worthy. There was so much back and forth. There was a lot of, you know, these points that you just weren't sure who was gonna take it. And the match went into 4 sets and it finished in a tiebreaker. Nail biter of a match. Everyone was on the edge of their seats, and then the unthinkable happened where Djokovic actually fell over, and we thought, you know, he had been kind of getting a little bit of assistance on his hip throughout the match, and then he fell over and we're like, oh my gosh, what happens? Is the match gonna be over? And to top it off, you know, there's huge Serbian contingent there, huge Italian contingent there, 2 nationalities that are super passionate about who they're cheering on, and Djokovic ended up taking it in the end. He really showed his experience, but I think this is not the last that you're gonna see of Flavio Cobolli. I think he's playing really well, and I'm excited to see if he'll go into the US Open and what we'll see of him in future tournaments. So I think this is the beauty of Wimbledon. You never know what kind of match you're gonna get. But every time I've gone, I feel like it's been great tennis and just something that is really worth celebrating, enjoying. I feel like you hear from a lot of people they want to take up tennis after going to Wimbledon, and I can see why, because I play tennis and the next day all I wanted to do is get out there on the tennis court and play tennis. So really great match.
Very fresh. Of course, first I have to say huge congratulations to Flavio for an amazing tournament, but also intake of breath, because we were concerned that you might be badly hurt. Are you okay? I finished the match, so 50 seconds. Of course, was, is, still remains, and always will be the most special tournament we have in our sport.
Okay, so let's talk about what to wear to Wimbledon. So what I would advise, I always think a smart, elegant summer sundress or like a skirt and a top would be really lovely to wear, or maybe an elegant pair of trousers with a top. I'm a little old school in the sense that I would not wear jeans to Wimbledon, even if it's cold and wet outside. I would wear probably some sort of dress trouser if it was really cold. I always just want to wear something that's lightweight and summery but elegant. I think color scheme wise, a lot of people like whites or pastel colors. I always think a navy or a blue is always very elegant. It's a classic color. A lot of women also wear shades of green because there's so much green at Wimbledon. But I think anything as long as it's elegant. I've previously worn orange, I've worn lavender, I've worn blue, I've worn a pretty floral dress with blues on it. So I've run the gamut of the types of things that I have worn to Wimbledon. But I think as well, it just really looking at where your seats are, if you're gonna be sitting on the hill or if you're in the bright sun, plan accordingly for it. Now for men, the gentleman that I went with was wearing a nice pair of, he either usually wears like a khaki style trouser pant. So I think for men, it's a little bit more flexible. Obviously, we're not sitting in the royal box. We're just sitting on center court or court one all the times that I've gone. And he usually wears like a nice button-up collared shirt. So I think a button-up collared shirt, a polo shirt would be totally appropriate. You can bring hats. I think like a nice Panama straw hat is always a good look, or just a lot of people bring baseball caps, especially if you're in the bright sun. Definitely pack some sunglasses for the same reason, and absolutely pack some sunscreen, because if you're sitting on the court in the bright sun, this is, you know, depending on which side you get. We were lucky that the side that we won the tickets on, it was sunny for really most of the women's quarterfinals singles match, and I did reapply my sunscreen at least once. But then for the men's match, the way the sun went, we actually got into the shade, so that was very welcome. But the other side of the stadium was like boiling hot in the sun for most of both matches. So I think I would probably recommend to that extent maybe bringing some sort of like lightweight cardigan or pashmina if you are really sun sensitive. So maybe you could shield your skin from the sun a bit if you burn easily, would be the recommendation. And then in terms of other things I recommend for packing, I usually bring some sort of tote or hobo style bag. And I usually bring some sort of like reusable canvas bag as well. So in the reusable canvas bag, I'll put the champagne. I usually bring my own cups. I've actually taken the champagne, the plastic champagne flutes from Wimbledon. You can actually bring them home with you. They charge you a like a cup fee, I think of £1 each. So if you return them, you get the cup fee back. But if you don't, it's kind of your fee for quote unquote stealing them from Wimbledon. So I bring those back because it's really nice when we get there. I just go to a restaurant and ask them to fill it up with ice so we can enjoy our champagne cold. And then I also brought kind of the snacks, the champagne, and we brought some bottled water as well in with us. So I brought that in the reusable bag. And then in my tote bag, I had my sunscreen, my hat, my battery pack for my phone. I think there might be some places around in the stadium to charge your phone, but you don't want to leave your phone somewhere while you're at your seats. And usually your ticket is digital in the My Wimbledon app, so you do need your phone to last for the duration. So if you do not own a power bank, definitely buy one for the tournament. And then obviously all the other bits I'd normally have in my handbag, like my wallet and whatnot. So I would say those would be the most important things to bring. Oh, and one other thing for women on the footwear, I would recommend a pair of flats. Now, I do think it's okay to wear trainers to Wimbledon. A lot of women will wear like the chic white trainers with the summer sundress. I personally wear a pair of beige ballet flats that are so comfortable. They're by a brand called Me Too. You have to buy them in the US. I can leave them linked down below, but these are my secret for years and I have really difficult feet. But I think just because I don't really think you want to wear a heel to Wimbledon, even though you are wearing a dress, because depending where you're sitting, there's a lot of very steep stairs. So, and you're often like carrying food or drinks when you're walking up and down the stairs. So you don't want any trip hazards. And also you've got that 15 to 20 minute walk to and from Southfield's underground station. So just wear something you can walk like 10 to 20,000 steps in and climb up and down stairs in. It's a little bit more function over fashion, I would say, with the footwear. I would almost rather you go more casual on the footwear than I would like on the jeans aspect of it. So yeah, I think that's what I would recommend for the fashion, but I think in general for women, you don't need to think you're Kate Middleton, although I mean, I do love her fashion. You don't need to kind of wear something as fancy as what she wears. This is not like Royal Ascot or one of the, you know, Henley or one of the events of the season. I think an elegant, smart summer sundress, I would focus on classic over being too sexy. I don't really feel like Wimbledon is an event where you want to be overly sexy and showing too much skin. I mean, you might, if you're in the bright sun, want to think about those tan lines if you're in the direct sun all day. So I probably wouldn't fault you if you wanted to do like a strapless dress or something if you knew you'd be in the burning hot sun all day. You do you, girl. So a few other interesting facts on the Wimbledon tournament. There are over 38 tons of strawberries consumed every year. So when you go to Wimbledon, yes, you can bring your own bottle of champagne in, but also you have to have the strawberries and cream. They're lovingly picked from a farm in England. This year they came from Kent. They usually on the packaging tell you all of the farm to Wimbledon story. They talk to you about the farms, and they're the most beautiful, perfect strawberries that you've ever seen. They're incredibly flavorful. The cream is definitely more what I would call on the runny side. So if you're American like me and you're used to a more fluffy whipped cream, I would say this is a more runny kind of custardy style cream. It's not sweet, but it is just more of a runny cream. So it's very nice, but you kind of want to like, they give you these little recyclable spoons that you can like sop it up with. Very, very lovely. Now, the strawberries and cream used to famously be £2.50, and this year they went up a whole 20p to £2.70. But there is a tradition about keeping the price on these lower. So it is one of the more affordable treats that you can enjoy at Wimbledon, which I guess is great because you can subsidize the costs of the day by bringing in your own food and drink. So you can bring your own bottle of alcohol, you can bring your own snacks in, and there's water refill stations everywhere in the stadium. So I would recommend bringing in a reusable water bottle so you can just keep refilling it. So during the tournament, Wimbledon uses 54,000 tennis balls. And apparently each ball is stored at 20 degrees Celsius for consistency of play. I've always wondered about this. And there is a queue culture. So there, if you do want to go to Wimbledon and you cannot get in the ballot, you can join the physical queue. And I think especially in the first week of the tournament, this is so fun to do. We usually do this with, I usually recommend doing this with one other person because it can be really hard to do it with a big group, but usually after work in the first week, we'll leave immediately as soon as work ends, like 5 p.m. we'll leave work a bit early, and we'll go down to Southfields, we'll join the queue, we'll spend, I think it's like £5 to £10 for a grounds ticket, which then gets you on the grounds of Wimbledon, so you can go enjoy a Pimm's, a strawberries and cream, and you can bring your own picnic blanket. So you can go perch on the famous Henman Hill, and they have a huge flat screen TV there, so you can have your bottle of champagne, have your snacks, you can watch tennis with real tennis fans. So you can do this during the day in the tournament, in the evening, and once you're in the tournament, you can actually join a digital queue for people in the grounds to purchase return tickets. And the return tickets, I think, are 15 to 20 pounds. And because they've already sold the tickets, the money from the return tickets goes to charity. And there's signage and information in the stadium where the money goes to. So this is really special. So for the people that do need to leave early, then you can repurchase their seats and then the money will go to charity. So again, Wimbledon is a very unique tournament in this regard. All right, so let's summarize what I've shared in this video, because if you just only tuned in and at the end and want all the tips, here's the summary. Okay, so how do you get tickets to Wimbledon? You need to sign up for the Wimbledon ballot on wimbledon.com. There will be instructions there on how to do that. And then you need to keep an eye on your email. Wimbledon will tell you when the ballot information is going to be coming out, so you can keep an eye out there. And even if you don't get in the early stages of the ballot, closer to the tournament, you should get an email where you can go in, and if you are as passionate as I am, just spend some time. I mean, it took me about a month of refreshing to get the tickets that we got. So you gotta be willing to put the effort in. And obviously, I think there are some debentures, resales options. There are hospitality options if budget is not of concern to you. More power to you. And would you consider taking me next year if that's the case? Thank you very much. I'm great at tennis tournaments because I know so much about tennis. So that's how you get tickets from the ballot. And then if you do just want to go and you're planning a trip to London or you live in London, you can go do the queue. So you can go and queue up, pay for a grounds ticket, then put your name in the online queue inside the stadium for the returns tickets. So this can be a really fun day, and I would highly recommend doing that regardless. What you can bring, so make sure obviously to check the Wimbledon website, because these videos live on the internet for a long time and things are always subject to change. But at the time of myself going in 2025, and for some of the previous years, we could bring in 1 bottle of champagne or 2 bottles of beer per person. So for the pair of us, we only bring 1 bottle of champagne, and we're not actually very big drinkers. And then we will enjoy that kind of slowly. So I would recommend also bringing maybe a bottle top so you can carry the champagne around with you without it spilling. And then you can kind of enjoy it throughout the day. Maybe, I mean, I know ice and champagne isn't really the vibe, but you can maybe bring one of those ice sleeves or put some ice in it to cool it off. So you can enjoy that. You can bring your own snacks in. So we did that, and you can bring your own bottle of water in, which is great. It does cut down on some of the costs throughout the day. But then I would recommend, there are lots of great food and drink options on site. We had these falafel sandwiches for lunch. I had chicken, my friend had the halloumi one. Really good. We also had the famous strawberries and cream, and we also had a little Pimm's late in the day before we left. So there's a lot of really nice options, and I think Wimbledon really does try to accommodate different dietary needs. You also can book in at different restaurants. So if you know the matches that are happening the day that you get tickets, you can make a restaurant booking. Now the matches happen pretty back to back, so I would recommend, if you're gonna do a restaurant booking, maybe to do it before you go in for the day, and then you can go get different snacks later on if you are hungry later on in the day. Now in terms of bags, I did say I bring like a little tote bag and just a little canvas bag. There are limits to bag sizes, so just check the rules online with that in terms of the size of bag that you're allowed to bring in. So that's an important one. I don't think they allow any selfie sticks or any like golf umbrella size umbrellas in there, so just check on that. In terms of what to wear, I would recommend smart and elegant would be, it doesn't need to be the fanciest. This isn't Royal Ascot or a posh event. I think if you're in debentures, there is a little bit more of a dress code, so I would recommend checking on that. But just for normal center court or court 1 seats, I just recommend for women an elegant sundress or an elegant skirt and top, or dress slacks and top if it's chilly out. I recommend flat shoes or, you know, a casual but elegant trainer. Men, I recommend the same. I don't really recommend jeans, but you do see a lot of people wearing them, so I think we probably dress up a bit more than most, just because I feel like that's the vibe for Wimbledon. It's just like a nice day out. Be prepared to walk, because Southfields is the closest station. There's huge amounts of crowds. There are Uber and taxi pickup points, so if you are less able to walk, there are options, but I would just factor in extra time to wait around that. And also you probably will have to walk to one of those pickup points, but not impossible. I think the easiest way really is just to take the tube to Southfields, and it's just you just follow the crowds, just a straight shot down to Wimbledon. And then, yeah, I think make sure to download the Wimbledon app. And I think that's it. So if there are any questions I have not answered in this video, please leave a comment down below or share your own tips if you've been and you had something that you felt worked really well for you, like maybe you brought a portable fan, or there's some sort of item that you think is a must bring in that I didn't, that I failed to communicate. Let me know. Sharing is always caring here on this channel. If you like this video, please hit that like button. That means the world to me. It helps me understand if you like these videos. And last but certainly not least, I would love it if you would consider subscribing and to join me on this wonderful YouTube journey. So thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you soon.